You are looking at last week's offensive player of the weekend, Ricky Ray, 407 yards passing and 3 TDs. He was on fire. He's going up against Bo Levi Mitchell. This young man continues to impress. I don't know how John Hufnagel keeps on finding these guys. Calgary Stampeders churn out one great quarterback after another. Jock Climby sitting in for Rod Smith, who's off this week. He will be back. I'm joined by Chris Schultz, Matt Dunnigan, and Milt Stiegel. We have a great matchup going on tonight. Doubleheader. Game one, we see Calgary visiting Toronto, and this is a game that's going to be, well, people are talking about all the injuries first and foremost. We know that Jason Barnes and Andre Dury are out for Toronto. Meanwhile, Calgary's without John Cornish, Mo Price, Nick Lewis. These quarterbacks are short-handed. Offensive coordinators. My question is, are they going to change the game plan? With these kinds of weapons out of your lineup, Milt, are you forced to change what you do?
Well, it all depends on who's injured on your squad. And as far as the Calgary Stampeders go, when you lose a guy like John Cornish, because there's no replacing him, you got to change up your game plan. You know, he's the bread and butter of your team, the reigning MVP. But for the Argonauts, Ricky Ray is still in place. Yeah, you lose Dury, Barnes is out. But as long as you have Ricky Ray in place, you don't need to change a thing because you won't miss a beat.
Milt, let's go back to last year when Calgary came to visit the Toronto Argonauts minus John Cornish. They went to Matt Walters and Jonathan Williams. And between those guys, they had 28 rushes for 177 yards. They didn't change their game plan. They relied on those big boys up front. I believe they'll do the same thing today to help out that young quarterback, Bo Levi Mitchell, who's losing a couple of key receivers. I think they'll concentrate on that run, establish the line of scrimmage. That's what they're going to do, Schultz.
You know, I think Toronto's success last week is an advantage for Calgary this week, because all through the week, the film that the Calgary Stampeders are watching is the film of the Argonauts dismantling the Saskatchewan Roughriders. I mean, in that game, they scored 48 points. They had over 500 yards of offense. They had 5 quarterback sacks. They held the Riders to 15 points. Each and every one of those Stampeders has evaluated that game, and they said to themselves, Argonauts, for real, we got to bring our A game to compete.
Well, there's an old expression in football, isn't there? One player's injury is another player's opportunity.
Yes.
Well, that's how I got my first start in the CFL, and we're going to see some young guys taking the field tonight with a real opportunity. Anthony Coombs is in for Jury out of the University of Manitoba. He had 1,000 yards in the CIS, and Matt Walter for Calgary can't wait for this one. Kickoff is next.
Smoke underneath the CN Tower inside the Rogers Center, where these two teams met a year and a half ago for the 100th Grey Cup. Met twice last season, split that. Two division leaders last year, and the Stamps and Argos are back at it, first time in 2014.
Well, the teams are the same, but some of the featured performers are a little different. John Cornish out of the lineup means former University of Calgary star Matt Walter gets to carry the load here tonight. And another Canadian star out for the Toronto Argos, Andre Dury, is down. We get to see the number 3 overall pick in the 2014 draft. Anthony Coombs out of the University of Manitoba makes his first career CFL start.
Scott Milanovic, a one-time quarterback in Calgary and a quarterback coach, and now the head coach of the Argonauts, Grey Cup champions back in 2012. John Hufnagel, Grey Cup champion back in 2008. With his Calgary Stampeders, they have the best road record in his tenure in the CFL. Very good on the road. In fact, last year won against the Argos here at Rogers Center. So, on this beautiful night for football, Rene Paredes will put it on the tee and get it rocking and rolling here. Again, two teams that look considerably different. A number of injuries tonight. But here we go, and backing up to get this ball is Curtis Steele. Bashes his way to the 20-yard line, and the blue and white of the Argos come to the field. Ricky Ray, starting quarterback again, and look at the completion percentage.
Yeah, picking up right where he left off last season, 74.7% through the first couple games. Chad Owens tops in terms of receiving yards per game. And Anthony Coombs, as we said off the top, he replaces Andre Dury, which means he's going to get lots of looks in that position.
Starters to watch brought to you by Napa Auto Parts, where custom advice comes standard. There is Anthony Coombs out of the University of Manitoba, their #1 pick this year. Ricky Ray sends out his receivers, comes out slinging, and John Childs has a big gainer here. First play from scrimmage. Josh Bell knocks him out of bounds. A 44-yard pickup.
Well, great protection from the Argonauts offensive line. Running back Jeremiah Johnson picking up that blitz off the right edge. Childs wide open downfield.
Argo team that lost its first game, manhandled in Winnipeg, then bounced back. 57-point turnaround to overwhelm the Saskatchewan Roughriders. There's a handoff. And going left side is Jeremiah Johnson. See a lot of him here tonight as well. Let's take a look at the defensive starters for the Calgary Stampeders.
Always got to have an awareness of where Charleston Hughes is lined up. 2 sacks in 2 games against Toronto last season, but what they remember most is the hit that took Ricky Ray out for a chunk of the season. At defensive tackle, Micah Johnson returning from an ACL injury, playing his first game since the regular season finale last year, and Juwan Simpson, the anchor in the middle of that defense, 3 tackles and a sack in their season opener 2 weeks ago.
Juwan Simpson said that they're banged up a little bit. They're missing some players, but they just have to reload and come out shooting again. There's a penalty flag. Bursting close to the first down. Let's see what the call is. Our referee tonight is Andre Proulx.
Holding Toronto number 61, 10-yard penalty. Still second down.
That one goes against the right guard, Jarrell King. Put the Argos in a 2nd and long situation here.
Second down and 12 from the 47-yard line. 34-year-old Ricky Ray coming off a 400-yard passing game. Looks right, then left, tucks it, and then tosses it again to Spencer Watt. Watt very close to the first down marker. Might be about a yard and a half shy. Take a look at the spot. It might actually be a full 2 yards, so it looks like they're going to bring out their field goal unit. Swayze Waters, who has been perfect on the season, will try to put the first points of this ball game on the board. This will come from the 44-yard line. Trevor Harris with the hold. Kick is up, and it splits the uprights perfectly. Argos strike first here tonight. And there he is, Bo Levi Mitchell, 10 years younger than Ricky Ray, but 4-0 as the starter for the Calgary Stampeders. Lid is open. Inside the huddle with Bo Levi Mitchell, and the Calgary Stampeders missing some offensive weapons tonight, including the reigning most outstanding player, John Cornish, out with a concussion. Nick Lewis out with a concussion. Mo Price out with a broken hand. Play action right away. Bo comes up throwing, and just a little too far for Anthony Parker.
As we said, different names to watch on offense for the Calgary Stampeders. You're used to Cornish and Lewis alongside the quarterback, Bo Levi Mitchell. Matt Walter, 5.6 yards per carry in his CFL career in relief of John Cornish. They get Joe West back, 11 catches, 221 yards in his last 2 games. The only problem is West throughout his career has battled injuries. Those 2 games were back in October and November of last season. Happy to have him back in the lineup.
There's Matt Walter, the former star at the University of Calgary. Comes out of the backfield, and there's a pass, and what a catch by Parker. As Bo Mitchell goes to him back-to-back. Incomplete the first time, but Anthony Parker makes an outstanding snag.
Anthony Parker coming out of that left slot is just going to work his way to the inside. Great timing route between he and Bo Levi Mitchell. Sells that out. Brings it in, fingertip grab. Another former Calgary Dino.
Anthony Parker, who had a lot of playing time at that inside position with Nick Lewis out of the lineup again. Mitchell throws, open man is Jeff Fuller. That's his 4th catch of the season. A guy who played 3 games late last season.
As we look at the starters to watch in this Toronto Argonaut defense, there's the three guys in the middle of that secondary. Jermaine Gabriel, special teams terror. Last year he's starting at safety with Matt Black down due to injury. The newcomer, so to speak, Dwight Anderson, 5 interceptions with Saskatchewan last season. He's at the field halfback position. And Jaleel Carter at the other halfback spot, off to a great start, actually leading the Argos in both sacks and tackles thus far.
There's Dwight Anderson. What a week it's been for him. Look at this toss. A little too far again for Anthony Parker. What a week for DA, though, Dwight Anderson. Here he was a week ago, probably a little disappointed, downtrodden. His team comes into Toronto, the Saskatchewan Roughriders, and gets it handed to them. He heads back home, and then he realizes, guess what? I'm now with the enemy.
Yeah, that trade on Monday, picking up the former all-star defensive back. Argos looking to improve. Both the veteran presence, add a little bit of swagger, a little bit of attitude on the back end. A little more vocal. The most important part is what they get out of this guy in terms of his play. Very good man-to-man cover guy.
Increases the noise out there, that's for sure. Mitchell again, and Walter out of the backfield will be short of a first down. Stopped there by Shea Emery, the former Montreal Alouette, his first season with the Toronto Argos.
The Argos very happy to have Shea Emery in the lineup after he left the game last week with a head injury. Already a little bit thin on Canadian starters with both Dury and Black going down in recent weeks. But Shea Emery was able to recover and suit up here today.
So Rene Paredes, who has been money and remains that way. Carbon copy starts. The Stamps reply almost exactly the same way Ricky Ray did it for the Argos, taking them downfield and getting a field goal. 3-3 early on here. We might have some fireworks up on the left side. A star on the rise. On the right side, a superstar. Bo Levi Mitchell wants to become the next Ricky Ray.
Well, the numbers are nowhere near, but the pace is pretty impressive for Bo Levi Mitchell through his first 4 career starts. In fact, you add the completion percentage to that. Bo Levi Mitchell over 70% completions through his first 4 CFL starts.
Chad Owens, his first touch. What a week for Chad Owens last week. What a start. And then, of course, Ricky Ray over 400 against the defending Grey Cup champions.
Yeah, Ricky Ray never seems to miss a beat. He's provided time in that pocket. Capable of picking apart any defense.
Chad Owens picks up half the first down yardage. 2nd and 5 now from the Argo 40. A quick hitter again. Hauled in once again by Chad Owens. Off to a lightning quick start. Former most outstanding player of the CFL, the most outstanding special teams player. He's done it all. Yards from scrimmage, the guy is almost untouchable. 237 yards through 2 games, 19 catches coming in.
No question, the Argos look to their slot backs, particularly Owens and Dury when he's in there, to catch short passes to augment what they do with the running game.
Play action. Ray has them fooled. And there's Johnson. Tiptoes the sidelines, and Jeremiah Johnson still on his feet. Down near the 40-yard line. Jeremiah Johnson, former Oregon Duck. Ducks a few tackles and then comes down the sideline for a big gainer, 22-yard pickup.
Off little play action look here. Johnson's going to slip out of that backfield. Nobody picks him up, whether they think that he's going to stay in there to block. They're late picking him up in the flat. That's easy pickings for Ricky Ray.
There's Anthony Coombs, first touch of this ball game, and expect to see a lot of Anthony Coombs. Had a chance to chat with this young man. Again, the #1 pick this year for the Toronto Argonauts. Out of Winnipeg, Manitoba, Bison, who was an outstanding CIS player. Not intimidated a bit by the environment. And you'll never meet any more excited young man to play this game than this guy right now. He is amped. There's trouble right there. From the snap, there's a penalty flag. Lynn J. Shell, the former Argo, gets to his old teammate Ricky Ray. Let's see what the call is.
Offside. Calgary. 5-yard penalty. Still second down.
Well, that's one of the reasons they got to Ricky Ray so quickly.
Looked like it might have been Charleston Hughes just by alignment. Oh, there's that stutter. He knew Lynn J. Shell was coming outside. He was trying to time up his loop to the inside.
Charleston Hughes, a sack on the season, 18 sacks a year ago, first in the Canadian Football League. Pistol formation, Johnson, 27-year-old out of LA, guy who spent some time on some practice rosters down south. The Argos trying to find that guy who's going to be the next star in their backfield. Right now the incumbent is Curtis Steele, but Chad Cackert, he was out running patterns earlier tonight. He's now a coach, de facto assistant with the Argos. See what happens with that. Some people feel that maybe Chad Cackert could make a comeback. The way he looked tonight, he might be thinking about that. And of course, before Cackert, there was Corey Boyd, Jarius Norwood last year. Third down now. Mitchell Gale comes in. Goes forward and has the first down. Past the midway point of this opening quarter. Clean ball game so far, and both offenses have been carving up the real estate.
Well, when you get the kind of surge that the Argos offensive line had on that short yardage play, gives all sorts of confidence to the quarterback, Mitchell Gale. And they get into that situation again. Great push. Gain the line of scrimmage.
Ricky Ray perfect so far. Again, operated. It's almost 75% on the season. Young season. Pump and go. Trouble though. And a penalty flag. They throw that. It's going to be roughing the passer. As Sean Lemon got to Ricky Ray, but a little too aggressively.
Major foul. Roughing the passer. Calgary number 40. Half the distance, the goal. First down.
As we take another look at this one, they were trying to get the one-on-one matchup. On the left side, they had Chad Owens locked in one-on-one, but Lemon comes free. You see contact with the helmet and absolutely zero tolerance. And it's, to be fair to the defensive guys, getting to be real tough to be a defensive lineman in this league.
Again, the rule implemented in the book this year, any blow delivered to the helmet, an automatic penalty. A little bit different than before. Johnson swallowed up. Up the middle. Quinn Evans makes the tackle. If you look at it from a certain angle, you're going, what? That's a penalty? But there it is right there. Helmet to helmet.
Again, from a defensive point of view, the argument that you're going to make there is that Ricky Ray sees the hit coming and he starts crouching to protect himself and lowers his own head.
We've seen that. Yeah, we've seen it a few times, and seems to be a bit of a gray area right now. And almost every game we're seeing one of those types of calls. Obviously want to protect the quarterback. Ricky Ray has to dance now, and he'll just chuck it out of bounds. It's almost like in hockey now, you know, the hitting from behind rule, where guys are starting to turn their backs and induce the hit from behind. I don't think any quarterback's going to stick their head purposely in. No. But you know what I'm saying? It's that it's almost one of those accidental hits, but it's still accidental is still a penalty.
Yep. Yeah, and I mean, and the rule is very clear, and there was helmet-to-helmet contact there.
Yeah, no malicious intent by any stretch by Lemon. So Swayze Waters So far, it's been 5 to go in the opening quarter. And the Argos surge ahead 6-3. 6-3 early on. It's all kickers so far. And pretty good percentages for both quarterbacks as they've been driving the field. 4:40 to go, opening quarter. A lot of motion here and some movement and penalty flags. That has been a constant too, by the way, early in the season. This has to be one of the most penalized early seasons.
Calgary number 65. This is a 5-yard penalty. First down repeated.
In CFL history. Here's a look at the call. Dan Federkow. Was the movement. Looked like the Argos might have moved first. Regardless, it's against Calgary. It's 1st and 15. Bo Mitchell looking for Marquay McDaniel. Couldn't grasp that one through his gloves. Daniel, who used to play down the QEW in Hamilton with the Tiger Cats.
A well-thrown ball from Mitchell as you see it right through the hands.
Marquay McDaniel coming off an outstanding season. For 1,000 yards receiving, 8 touchdowns. 2nd and 15. Anthony Parker in motion. There goes Jock Sanders too. It is to Parker. They set it up on the screen. And another penalty flag. The ball is loose. Whistles. But further to that theme, is there any rhyme or reason to what you've seen with so many penalties? We saw it last night, and it seems like a game doesn't go by where we're seeing so many flags. Does it have anything to do with some of the new rules here? Or is it just perhaps early season rust and a lack of continuity for some teams?
Yeah, I think you're seeing a combination of both of those things.
There is no infraction on the play. The ball was cut behind the line of scrimmage. It's considered a running play. It will be turned down.
But just to finish that thought, Rod, you've got bye weeks early in the season, which teams haven't typically had. So, I mean, that's even slowing down the rate at which teams are getting their timing in the early going. And also, yeah, definitely the adjustment factor to some new rules, pass interference being reviewed as well, resulting in more calls in that department.
Look out! Chad Owens, dangerous as always. 2 strides away from taking it the distance. A 15-yard return. 3-burst win of 2014. A costly one, though. Scat back, Andre Dury. With a broken clavicle on that play. He's out for 6 weeks, but he's in the house tonight, and he's with Matthew Shinniby.
Yeah, Rod, I'm right beside Andre Dury. And Andre, what update can you give us on your clavicle? I don't see you wearing a sling.
Fortunately, it wasn't too much of a bad break. So right now, just going through the regular rehab for it, and hopefully be back a little bit sooner than we think.
So you think you won't have to be on the 6 weeks? What do you think?
I'm 6 games, so I'm going to take the full time and recover, but just try and take it day by day.
I know you've been mentoring Anthony Coombs quite a bit. What did you say to him this week to get him ready?
Just be patient. Just be patient and play his game. He's a fast, explosive player, and just use that when you're out in space.
How long does it take for a player to learn how to be patient? Because that's something Scott Milenovich was trying to tell him as well.
Yeah, it takes a little bit. Going from transitioning from running back, an explosive, fast position to receiver, where you got to be patient and read. It takes a little bit of transition, but he's taking it like a pro, and we've been teaching him well, and he's doing well with it.
Thanks for this, Joe.
No problem.
Thank you so much. Andre Dury, if there's anyone who's ever going to come back from any injury, it's this guy. Andre Dury, whose knee basically exploded in his CIS career. A lot of people thought it was going to be over for Andre Dury. Look what he has been able to do after that.
And with a position change along the way, a guy who's a natural running back making the move to slot back.
2nd and 6. Ricky Ray again. Curtis Steele on the far side. Very close to moving the sticks, but the spot is not going to be favorable. So again, the kick team will come out, and Swayze Waters will punt it away. They're saying it's an incomplete pass. There's Jock Sanders, former Rough Rider, acquired in the offseason. Larry Taylor went to Montreal, and Sanders is doing this now. And he's got speed to burn. On the outside, Sanders is just going to step out of bounds, but there are a couple of penalty flags on the play. One at the 50, one on the far sideline. Chad Owens looked like he got a little nicked up.
Yeah, wasn't in on the last offensive series. He's been having that ankle worked on a little bit on the sidelines as you see him trying to test it out. Dury and Owens.
Calgary number 48. This is a 10-yard penalty. Illegal block. Calgary number 21. That foul is declined. First down.
Boy, the dreaded double dip. 2 penalties against the Stampeders, sends them way back, negates that return. Here's what happened to Chad Owens.
Well, this is the risk of having one of your key offensive or defensive players be your primary returner. You see that left ankle gets caught up underneath the 230-pound body of Carl McCartney on the tackle. Ankle gets tweaked a little bit. Between Dury and Owens, 186 receptions last year. They were number 1 and 2 in the league in catches.
These two teams, of course, Calgary and Toronto, led their divisions last year, and by all accounts going into the playoffs, might have been the favorites to have a repeat performance in the Grey Cup game, which was slated for Regina, of course. Calgary 14-4 last season, seemed inconquerable. The Argos were 11-7, but both teams were knocked off in their respective finals and had to watch the Grey Cup from home. Trying to get back there. Bo Mitchell has McDaniel. Good toss from Bo Levi Mitchell. Marquay McDaniel hauling that in.
And we've seen the Stampeders early in this ball game look a couple of times to those deep crossing routes. Earlier it was Anthony Parker. This time Marquay McDaniel going to work into the corner. More than making up for the one he let slip through his fingertips a little bit earlier.
Working
nice
against
the shoulder grab there.
Working against Antoine Molden, Dwayne, who had a debut for the ages against the Riders. Sanders. This is what they're going to do tonight. Split with Sanders and Matt Walter in the backfield. National and international players in the backfield tonight for the Stampeders.
Well, the Stampeders have some flexibility in terms of that ratio. Getting Dan Federkyle back in the lineup at right tackle. Canadian. Replacing Edwin Harrison, who had made the first couple starts in that position.
Clock ticking down here to zeros in this first quarter. Should be the final play. It's a direct snap. Sanders now. Some razzle-dazzle. Bo Levi Mitchell heaves it downfield, and it is a beautiful touchdown. Anthony Parker, but there's a penalty flag, and guess what? This razzle-dazzle will fizzle. It's coming back.
Got a second forward pass. Calgary number 14. The play will be reviewed. The play will be reviewed.
Now they're saying it's a forward pass to Bo Levi Mitchell. Now, if Bo Mitchell was behind Jock Sanders, that doesn't matter. That's a legal play. There's the direct snap. And he's behind him clearly.
He's throwing from the line. Now, Mitchell's going to have to move up to catch this, but you see Sanders is standing on the line when he throws. Mitchell catches it behind that line. We'll See if it's any clearer here. Now again, Mitchell's lined up behind him, but Sanders doesn't throw the ball that far back. But Mitchell is still behind the point where Sanders throws the ball when he catches it. But what you see...
So again, Bo Mitchell and everybody. So here's the line of scrimmage is at the 52. So he's clearly behind the line of scrimmage. This is the point right here.
But watch Mitchell when he steps forward and see if he crosses that line of scrimmage when he throws the ball. And I know that's not their initial call. No, okay. Oh no, he's well back, well back.
I don't know, this looks like it should stand. Great gadget play. Love that stuff, to see it when it's implemented. Sometimes you don't see enough of it.
Sorry, one second.
Again, if he, I guess what they're going to look at command is.
After review, the ruling on the field is overturned.
There it is.
Good call.
Touchdown.
He scored a touchdown on the play. Touchdown.
Well, that's why they have video review on scoring plays. 58 yards. And the razzle-dazzle indeed works. The gadget. Sanders to Mitchell to Parker. Deep, touchdown.
Better play deep.
And Anthony Parker, who went a long time before scoring his first touchdown last year, the former Calgary Dino star, now has his second of 2014, and this was highlight reel stuff. One more time. Sanders back to Bo Mitchell. Bo, the throw. Anthony Parker, the house. They take the lead. 10-6 on that touchdown toss to Anthony Parker from Bo Mitchell. Assist to Jock Sanders. A lot of fun that was. But so far, what a show both quarterbacks are putting on.
Yeah, and not a big surprise. Again, Ricky Ray, last season over 70% completion rate. This season starting exactly the same way. When you look at Bo Levi Mitchell's first 4 starts of his career as a starter, he has a very similar completion rate, and obviously that's aided a lot when you've got a small sample with the phenomenal performance he had in his starting debut against Winnipeg last year, where it was over 80%. But nonetheless, seems to be even better as a starter than he was in relief at times last year.
Well, there's Anthony Parker on the sideline, and on the other sideline, concern now for Chad Owens. You saw again now that left ankle is being taped up with the cleat off. I'm trying to get an update from Matthew on his status. Chad Owens not on the field, but Curtis Steele returns. Chad Owens, this is a real hiccup right now, and for Argo fans, you hope that this isn't going to be prolonged, because he was on an extraordinary pace.
Yeah, looking to come very close to that 2012 number. His MOP season. Again, the losing Owens for any period of time, compounded by the fact that Dury is already out of the lineup, when you consider that those two guys are the focal point of this Toronto passing offense.
Handoff up the gut. Jeremiah Johnson zigs and zags for about 6. Ricky Ray 6 of 8 so far, but the concern around number 2. Here's Matthew.
Hey guys, so I was just watching Chad Owens run up and down the sidelines for a little bit to see if he can get some traction with that left ankle. The doctors then pulled him to the training table. He started to, they pulled off his shoe, checked the range of motion, not necessarily high up in the ankle, but around his toes. As you can see, they're taping it up right now, and I imagine once he gets off the table, he'll be testing that traction again, but he was doing a lot of running up and down the sidelines.
All right, we will keep on top of that. Ray looks one way now, tucks it and goes forward, and will get the first down, tumbling over the 45-yard line. That moves the chains. The ageless Ricky Ray out of Happy Camp, California, Sacramento State. Been around, been there, done that, won that. Champion in Edmonton, champion in Toronto. And now the owner of the highest completion percentage in CFL history. Number 2 on the list happens to be on the Calgary sideline. Mike Bradwell on a slant pattern.
Yep. That number 2 on the list would be Calgary's offensive coordinator, Dave Dickinson. Former MOP in this league. 3-time Grey Cup champion. Former star at the University of Montana.
Ricky Ray just mere percentage points ahead of Dickinson. Once again, Mitchell Gale. And a penalty flag, though, flies on the far side just as he dove over the pile. The Argos saying it's against the Stampeders, so Ricky Ray likely coming out.
Calgary number 91, 5-yard penalty, first down.
Yardsticks move again.
There you see the career completion percentage leader, single season. Ricky Ray, amazing, 77.2. And now the challenge for Ricky Ray, of course, who missed a chunk of games last season. See if he can do it over 18 games here in 2014.
Lifetime percentage, 67.62 against 67.58. There's a little dump pass to Anthony Coombs. Coombs, who has been getting quite an earful from Scott Milanovich. Practice this week, Milanovich is on him a lot, the rookie. And I asked Scott, you know, is there a reason you have to do that? Do you feel that? He says, no. I feel this kid has the opportunity to be great. That's why I'm doing that.
Yeah, very, very special player, and a player, according to general manager Jim Barker, very smart, very eager to learn, willing to get in the books to do whatever he's got to do.
Look at the blocking there by Coombs, and hanging on the far side, Spencer Watt. Once again, another flag in the backfield. Looks like it might go against the Stampeders based on the reaction from Juwan Simpson.
Unnecessary roughness, roughing the passer. Calgary number 12, 15-yard penalty, first down.
He was the culprit.
Juwan Simpson's going to start from depth. Try to time that blitz.
Tried to hold back, and he could not. Helps pick up Ricky Ray, and the officials picked up the flag. Another penalty against the Stampeders, now down to the Calgary 30. 3.5 gone here, second quarter. Argos looking to answer the Stampeders' razzle-dazzle touchdown. Bradwell on a crosser out of the backfield, just over the line of scrimmage, picks up a minimal gain, maybe 3. And Chad Owens is back. Good sign for the Argos.
Bit of a cross body block on the tackle. Jamar Wall, the defender.
Ricky Ray unloads for Owens. Ricky Ray got dumped again in the backfield. Quinn Evans in on the quarterback with a hit, but Ray let it go, and it was an overthrow for Owens, his first play back after having his ankle taped up. Looks like he's running all right. Ball was just errant.
Chad Owens gets a chance on the deep route to open it up a little bit.
Swayze Waters with an opportunity to pull the Argos within a point. It's made from 44 and 21. Missed from the 34-yard line, and this one is not going to go through. Jock Sanders thinking about taking it out, and he is going to bring it out. Look out! Jock Sanders sprinting down the sidelines. Oh, there he goes! Sanders! He's not going to be caught, or will he? Jock Sanders to the 20, to the 10. Finally knocked out of bounds by Trevor Harris, the backup quarterback. What a play by Jock Sanders. 121-yard return. Maybe it shouldn't have been at the beginning.
Yeah, at the start it looked like the Argos were doing a pretty decent job in coverage, and we were sort of wondering what is Jock Sanders thinking. But he's got faith in his blocks, and all of a sudden he's got that wall up the sideline. Great decision, great job trusting his blocks, and you also got to credit the guys on that defensive field goal block unit for not stopping after the kick, for recognizing that there's a play still to be had if that kick misses and getting back and getting on a body.
Big plays for the Stamps, and another touchdown. Jeff Fuller has his first as a Stampeder. Jock Sanders looks like Deion Sanders moments ago, sets up that.
Well, we'll credit Jock Sanders with his second assist of this football game. He gives them the field position. Jeff Fuller just a quick slant, and this is one of the things that the Stamps love about adding this guy to their receiving core late last season, is his size, big target for those inside routes and traffic.
The Argos seem to carry so much momentum in the first quarter, and on the final play, Sanders helps a razzle-dazzle touchdown and then shows his own razzle. Takes it 121 and then capped off by Bo Levi Mitchell to Jeff Fuller. And the Stamps open up a bigger lead. And just recorded his first CFL touchdown. Jeff Fuller Sr. was a former two-time Super Bowl champion with the San Francisco 49ers as their free safety. His career was ended by a spinal cord injury. And now his son has recorded a major score, and the Stampeders open up a 17-6 lead. Brendan Smith picks it out to the 35-yard line. This game has really turned. How this would have been had he gone the distance, had to be the longest ever. Look at, by inches.
Yeah, he's there on the warning track, and the great thing, look at the eyes of the official. Looking right down, he's in perfect position, making sure that Jock Sanders is inbounds when he catches that football. That play wasn't going to be negated. Sanders sees that daylight, sees the wall set up, and away he goes.
How about the speed of quarterback Trevor Harris to bring him down, but it didn't matter. The Stamps still scored on the very next play. Now Ricky Ray looking to respond. Chad Owens cuts back the other way and is sandwiched. Close to a first down. How about the special teams coach? They run along with their returner, don't they?
Well, yeah, maybe the only guy working harder than Jock Sanders on this play is special teams coordinator Mark Killam on the sidelines. You'll be able to pick him out.
Classic. Classic Killam.
To the workplace.
Ray turns and hands on second down, and Johnson's driven back. A big hit by Josh Bell, the former BC Lion, but it's still going to be a first down for the Argonauts.
Josh Bell doing a nice job in run support there, coming downhill. Redirecting perfectly as Johnson tried to make that break to the outside, quick lateral move. Bell just redirected right along with him to make the tackle.
First and 10 go the Argos. Hand off again to Johnson. Good blocking and then tripped up. Great play by Deron Mayo. Otherwise, that would have easily been a first down for Jeremiah Johnson.
Well, we talk all the time about the fact that Charleston Hughes is one of those defensive players around whom you need to make special considerations in your offensive game plan. Here's Hughes at his defensive end spot. You want to negate his pursuit from the backside. Great job by the slot. Spencer Watt coming in at the last second and then sneaking inside of Hughes to block him. You got to make him aware that's going to slow him down coming off the line in his pass rush. He's going to be aware of that as the game goes on.
Second and 6, Ricky Ray under pressure goes forward and will be shy of the first down by a couple of yards, but again, pocket is quickly shut down for Ricky Ray. He can only go forward, and so again the Argos will kick this away. Strange one for Scott Milanovic and the Argos here. They got off to a roaring start, had to settle for field goals, and have been bitten by the big play from the Calgary Stampeders. Waters, this is a boomer. Jock Sanders, look at the bounce. All the way back, Sanders on the hop. Jock Sanders has been all over the field. What an adventure it's been for him tonight, and all in a good way. 17-6 Stampeders. The sackmaster is in the house. Charleston Hughes, 18 a year ago. Already has a couple this season. A couple of members of Canada's women's Olympic team in the amazing race. There's the amazing DA, Dwight Anderson. Bo Levi Mitchell checks that play, brings them back, sends them out again. Hands off to Walter. Matt Walter's first carry. Again in place of John Cornish. Not with the team. Shane Horton makes the tackle.
And there he is, the newest Toronto Argonaut, Dwight Anderson, his 5th CFL team. Started off with Hamilton, moved to Calgary. He greeted a number of his former teammates before the game, on to Montreal, Saskatchewan, where he won a Grey Cup last season. Now on to Toronto.
It's a bit of a reputation, Dwight Anderson. Marquay McDaniel. But he is a guy who the people he has played for have tremendous respect, and that includes Scott Milanovic.
I've always liked DA. I've always respected his game, and I did enjoy him when I was an assistant in Montreal. I think he can bring something to your team, particularly a young team that is kind of finding its way. And that's contagious.
Yeah, to say the least, confidence abounds. Bo Mitchell decides to roll with it and go with it. And Bo Levi Mitchell of Katy, Texas, steps out just before the first down marker. Well, one thing, Dwight Anderson is very stylish as well, and rather appropriate in his stylings.
Yeah, if you look closely at those socks, that's the Toronto skyline. Just trying to fit in.
Does he do that in every city? He must have a lot of socks right now. He's been around.
I wonder what the Regina skyline socks look like.
Well, they're definitely green. Drew Tate into the ball game on 2nd and 2. And the ball was loose, but the whistle had blown. Yeah, you know, you hear so much about DA, Dwight Anderson. And you watch him, and he does have swagger and bravado, and he does take some silly penalties at times, but here is a guy who through the years, and if you look at him, has a tremendous amount of respect from his peers. He's obviously a guy who's loved by teammates.
Yeah, I'll tell you, the thing about the game of football is it's very difficult to play without emotion. And Dwight Anderson, yeah, sometimes that emotion is right on the surface and right on the edge. But I'd honestly rather have that than a guy who's not excited to play the game.
There's Joe West, his first touch, penalty flag on that far side as he was able to squirt underneath the tackle, but we'll see what this call is about. Joe West back in the lineup again, no Maurice Price. West's first game of 2014.
Illegal contact on receiver, Toronto number 5. This is a 10-yard penalty. First down.
First down, the old saying about DA, Dwight Anderson, and players of his ilk. You'd rather tame a wild horse than beat a dead one.
Very well said. The guy is Tim Burke. Suggests, obviously, you like the coverage skills on the field. That's what Tim Burke wants, and Scott Milanovic mentions. I mean, this is a team that's turned over a lot of its secondary each of the last couple of years. You got a veteran guy there now to stabilize things a bit.
Matt Walter again grinding, and obviously a very different offensive look, and it must have been a very different couple of weeks in practice. Remember that the Calgary Stampeders have only played one game. They've had a long rest because of the bye week. But a very different look without John Cornish in this backfield.
Well, you talk about your usual mainstays of this Calgary offense, not just John Cornish, but Nick Lewis, who sustained a concussion in practice and is out of the lineup. So a very different Calgary Stampeder offense than the one we've been accustomed to.
Yet they still lead. Could be the final play before the 3-minute warning as Mo Mitchell throws it into the Argo bench. And so the 3-minute warning is issued to both sidelines. Calgary Stampeders owning an 11-point lead here tonight. Big play Stamps. White horse rides. John Hufnagel and his Calgary Stampeders missing some horses.
Yeah, a few key cogs from that offense. John Cornish, obviously the centerpiece, the CFL's most outstanding player last season. Nick Lewis and Mo Price, still very productive receivers through injury-plagued 2013 seasons.
Chad Owens not back on this return. Bouncing his way up to the 20-yard line is Terrell Sinkfield in his first game out of Minnetonka, Minnesota. And Northern Iowa. Sinkfield getting a chance to play with the Argos here tonight. Owens coming in for the offensive set, so clearly taking it easy on that ankle.
Well, we saw Sinkfield with a big return in the preseason. Gave an indication he might be a guy to provide some relief for Chad Owens.
Quick hitter on the far side. Darvin Adams into the Argos late last season, had 3 catches, has now recorded his 2nd catch of 2014. Guy out of Auburn. Was once the MVP of the Outback Bowl and also an SEC champion. Ray again, over 2 to go. Now he has to duck and chuck, and he does. And Curtis Steele shakes up near the 45-yard line. Ricky Ray makes something out of a potential sack.
Ricky Ray, not a guy who's usually talked about as being particularly elusive, but does a nice job buying himself just enough time here with that pocket collapsing. Slides left to find that outlet to his running back Steele.
Ricky Ray dinking and dunking, and now goes to the midfield stripe, knocked away beautifully by Fred Bennett. Intended pass.
Perfectly played by Fred Bennett out on the wide corner defending Mike Bradwell.
And the Argos coming off a huge win over Saskatchewan last week, and Ricky Ray, his 10th career 400-yard passing game. He has had 73 games over 300 yards passing in his career. Here come the Stamps again. Ray lets it go, and Anthony Coombs couldn't get up and lost some traction, and it will be short of the first down again. 1:45 to go before the half.
Anthony Coombs, again, not as involved in the offense as Andre Dury typically would be from that spot, and I'm sure still earning the confidence of his quarterback.
Boy, that picture of Scott Milanovich said a lot so far. Very frustrated on that sideline. His offense not on track at all. 6 points off the toe of Swayze Waters. And this guy, Jock Sanders, has been involved for the Stamps, but look out! This time in a negative way. Jock Sanders, who's been the star of the show, fumbles the football. And Shane Herbert recovers. And a little different look this time for Mark Killam.
Yeah, the highs and lows of being a punt returner in the Canadian Football League, and you can see Sanders clearly took his eyes off that football to look at the oncoming tacklers. Watch him heads up as that ball is bouncing, and Shane Herbert, second-year Argo out of Wilfrid Laurier University, quick to pounce on it.
But Ajax, Ontario, just east of Toronto, went to Pickering High School, won 3 Metro Bowl championships for high school football here at Rogers Centre. Big play is one of his biggest plays as a young professional football player.
Time down violation, Toronto number 15. This is a loss of down, second down.
Time count with 1:16 left before halftime. There's Shane.
Let's go.
That's it, baby. What we need, bro. Thanks, bro. Hell yeah.
So it'll be second down. Argos do not have to get to the end zone to reset their downs. But Ricky Ray just might go here. Now into the backfield, Anthony Coombs! And he's hammered close to that first down marker. You saw it in the background. He still might be a yard, maybe 2 yards shy here. So with 1:09 to go, Scott Milanovic is opting to go for the points.
The Argos do a nice job having Anthony Coombs work through traffic to get open there. You see Ricky Ray take a shot from DeQuinn Evans.
So it is 3rd and 2. Instead of going for the major here, Milanovic is going to go for the field goal chip shot. Swayze Waters 2 of 3. Missed from the 34. This one just outside the 10-yard line. Basically, it's a convert. He buries it. 47 to go. The Stamps still have time to put some more points on the board here before halftime, which is coming up. 17-9 score added to them, and don't forget second half of our twin bill as well to come later tonight. Ricky Ray looks a little frustrated too, and Argos have been able to move the football. High percentage passing again for Ricky Ray, but they haven't been able to penetrate that goal line. See if it catches up with them. Now Mitchell goes deep for Fuller and knocked down by Matt Ware, the former NFLer.
And this is part of why you love having a guy like Matt Ware on your roster at the corner, is to match up with a receiver like Jeff Fuller. Matt Ware, 6'3", 218 pounds, going against the 6'4", 220-pound Fuller. Give that battle to Ware.
31-year-old Matt Ware may have one of the longest resumes of any player from the South in the NFL to come to the CFL. He missed a couple of years. The last 2 years has been a personal trainer, decided to keep playing football. Matt Walter bursts free now, and Matt Walter has a John Cornish-like run up near the Calgary 50.
Matt Walter, one of the Canada West career rushing leaders, coming from a pretty good football factory, the University of Calgary, and they've churned out a number of terrific running backs. We've seen 3 of their running backs in CFL games the last 2 nights.
Bo Mitchell decides to take off with it. A little hook slide. Will be a few yards shy of a first down. Still has a couple of plays here to put it in field goal range for Rene Paredes, and we talked about Paredes and his ridiculous leg. Rene Paredes right now is the CFL's all-time percentage leader. And in fact, over the last 107 attempts, 108 attempts now, he's made 102. Almost 95% of his kicks. And again, he had that great streak last year. Rene Paredes, 39 straight, a new CFL record.
Not bad for a kid that went undrafted.
Undrafted and unheard of. And then gets the call. Becomes an all-star. And the most outstanding special teams player in the CFL last year. Chance for at least one more here for Mitchell to get it closer for Paredes. whose career longest is 52. This will do it, though, as Walter takes it down inside the 40. 11 seconds to go. Now, John Hufnagel could also think about maybe taking one more shot, make it a little closer attempt for Paredes, who already is on the field getting ready. But they're going to take one more shot.
Well, the Argos were very conscious of the deep pass on that last one, and that's why they were laid off so far on Matt Walter coming out of that backfield. 2 receivers to that side, pushed everything deep. Even the second level coverage kind of dropped off with them and took their eyes off of Walter.
11 seconds, have to be careful with the clock here, but they're just going to put it into that middle of the field for Paredes, and he's got a chance to extend the lead here before halftime. 6 seconds. Paredes will come out well within his range. Rene Paredes, born in Venezuela, grew up in Florida, then Pierrefonds, Quebec. CJEP, John Abbott. Spent some time in Miami in high school and then at Concordia University. Guy who has earned the nickname El Matador here in Canada. And this one is wide. A rare miss, and Chad Owens decides to bring it out on the final play of the first half. There is a penalty flag. And a rare miss from Rene Paredes. Kind of hooked this one. We're not used to seeing that.
No, it hasn't happened a lot in the last couple of seasons.
We've got an illegal block by Toronto. Both fouls. The fouls occur outside of goal. Your option is to decline, end the quarter, or one more play. Back half the distance.
So Andre
Legal
Proulx
block, Toronto is declined. That's the end of the half.
talking to the sideline over that loudspeaker. So the first half comes to a close. The Stamps, some big plays of a 17-9 lead at the half. Let's send it to the studio. Here's Jock Climbing and the coach, Paul LaPolice.
Yes, indeed. Here with Lapo and GMC's coach's playbook, and I've never returned a missed field goal in my life, but I can well imagine this exciting play because normally you.
But and there's some familiar faces, in the Charleston Hughes, but these guys are firmly solid on that side of the football. Yeah, everybody's question is, offensively, can the young quarterback hold his own? Without question, this guy is of good pedigree.
You think he's an elite quarterback? Would you say that Mitchell belongs in the same conversation as all the other top quarterbacks?
Sustainability, he's got to do that over a long period. But the numbers prove out that, yes, this kid takes care of the football, makes great decisions, and he's a leader. They're in good shape for this kid.
Well, I think year in and year out, this team has been consistent because of John Hufnagel. Every single year, he makes sure he maintains his free agents. His big thing is not going out and signing a bunch of free agents, but maintaining his core guys. He brought in a guy like Jock Sanders, but that was pretty much it. He wanted to make sure his guys stayed with them. And every single year, this team is a contender because their core guys are select and they're right there and they're competing.
Another great example is Matt Walter does not look out of place at all. As a running back, he looks very comfortable in there. He makes great plays. He knows the blocking scheme. He knows when to accelerate, when to cut. He looks perfectly as a running back. And I think that is an indication of the depth. And I think what you illustrated about the depth that Calgary has, it may be the best in the league. They're great at depth.
And they're doing with Walters what they did with Cornish. Behind Reynolds, right? And they're grooming him, and he's getting these opportunities to run with him, But I look at trickery, got him at the score, and a big missed field goal return. Set him up for a score in this first half.
And that takes Dave Dickinson to have some imagination and a head coach who says, yeah, you can go ahead and call that if you want. But you talk about depth, Schultz. I think it's important to talk about Hufnagel as a general manager. I mean, Jim Popp has always done that at Montreal with the depth, but they're doing that again in Calgary.
It happens every single year. And you look over the last couple of years, they've had the carousel of quarterbacks, and they haven't missed a beat. Kevin Glenn, Bo Levi Mitchell, Drew Tate. Who's ever in there, they're producing, and that says a lot about that organization.
Well, they're up 17-9 here at the Rogers Center. We're looking forward to an interesting second half. I mean, obviously with Toronto, they're a good football team. Likely most people's pick to finish first in the East. Stay tuned. We'll be back after this.
If I could, Schultz is talking to Tasha, but I'll get through this. Hey, Ricky Ray, 79%. You got Bo Levi at 64%. What you don't see here is a 121-yard missed field goal return. Big time. Ray's dominated, just can't finish drives.
Everyone is anxious to see Natasha. But first, Matthew Shinetti with Juwan Simpson.
Juwan, you've been able to hold the Argos offense to just 3 field goals. What's the key to hitting Ricky Ray?
Just playing assignment football. You know, we knew it was going to be big, try to get a hit on him. Guys ramped up for this game. We just got to be smarter, had too many penalties, and just keep playing.
Some of your linebacking teammates, Keon Raven and Duron Mayo, were getting some treatment on the sidelines. How do you adjust to new members of the linebacking corps?
We rotate in all during the week. Everybody plays with everybody, so the guys that are coming in, they're primed and ready to play, so I don't expect them to miss a beat.
Thanks, Juwan.
Thank you.
Natasha, boy, you know, what's going on with Brazil, Schultz? I just can't figure it out for the life of me.
I just want to visit the country.
We got a CFL football game. Second half.
Toronto Argonauts and newcomer DA Dwight Anderson, who's with Matthew Shinetti.
Dwight, what did you learn about your first half as an Argon?
Oh, you know, we just got to come out, you know, come back and play faster. Get back, you know, get back in our coverage and get on these deep balls because they're attacking us downfield right now. And a lot of things downfield we're not really seeing right now. So we just got to get our eyes back open on the coverage and go down and play ball.
So how do you unsettle a young quarterback when you know he's stretching the field on you?
We got to come out, man, and make plays this half. We got to come out aggressive, you know, come out fast and make some hits. You know what I'm saying? Turn this thing around. It's kind of dead on the sideline. Time for me to pick it up now.
Thanks, Dwight.
All right.
Dwight Anderson wearing the double blue now. Guy who won a Grey Cup in the red, black, and white. The Calgary Stampeders back in 08, and of course a Grey Cup with the Riders last season. Bo Levi Mitchell putting up impressive numbers again. He's 4-0, Dwayne Ford, as a starter. The CFL record, by the way, is a guy you know pretty well at 7-0, Jeff Garcia.
Yeah, Jeff Garcia, former Calgary Stampeder, of course, former San Francisco 49er, among other NFL stops. Grey Cup champion himself in 1998, wearing the red and white of the Stamps.
Swayze Water puts it in the air. Waters kick back to Jock Sanders, and a 121-yard missed field goal return. Let's take a look at what happened in that first half statistically. The leaders.
You see Matt Walter filling in for John Cornish, 7 touches, 51 yards for him. Levi Mitchell, solid 9 of 14, 170 yards and 2 touchdown passes. Jock Sanders, as you said, chipping in on special teams, 121-yard missed field goal return to set up a Jeff Fuller touchdown.
Again, Bo Mitchell talked about the 4-0. He had 3 starts last year and 1 start already this year, all successful starts, and looking to keep his unblemished record intact. The guy that John Hufnagel picked as the starter to start the season, and Anthony Parker on a quick end around fools the Argos, and they're trying to wrestle the football away, but to no success. Anthony Parker scored the first touchdown of this game on a little bit of trickery. Might be one of the plays of the year down the road, as Dave Dickinson pulled out the play out of his bag of tricks.
Well, I think you're starting to see a more confident Anthony Parker here in his 4th year, and I know the Calgary Stampeders have been waiting for this guy to break out. Absolutely elite level athlete. Struggled to find playing time through his first few years here in Calgary, but now getting an opportunity.
Comes by the talent naturally. His dad played for the Stamps back in the early 90s. Mitchell looking, and an underthrow that time, looking for Jock Sanders. Again, the big dilemma at the beginning of this season for the Calgary Stampeders, who protected Bo Levi Mitchell. The expansion draft. Kevin Glenn, of course, was their great insurance policy as quarterbacks went down. Drew Tate going down, who was the starter at one point. Before the season began, there was a great air of mystery. Who would be the guy? Here's the guy. The tall Texan who's done all right. The Iceman goes over the middle for Brad Sinopoli, who has it. Dwight Anderson wrestles him down, and Sinopoli, the quarterback turned receiver, former Heck Crichton Trophy winner, has his first catch of the night.
They Two young Canadian receivers, Parker and Sinopoli, making an impact here. The absence of Mo Price and Nick Lewis from this receiving core, these guys are stepping up in a big, big way for Bo Levi Mitchell.
Sinopoli, who had hoped to catch on as a quarterback, and Stampeders gave him every opportunity to be that quarterback, but the numbers didn't play out. Former Ottawa GG becomes a receiver and becomes a very good one. Quality, dependable. Mitchell, loads of time here. And you get a sense, too, tonight, Bo Levi Mitchell has been pretty much untouched. The Argos are not getting enough heat on Bo Levi Mitchell.
Legal contact on the receiver, Toronto number 24, 10-yard penalty. First down.
There's Argos defensive coordinator, Tim Burke, the guy who's got to find a way to get a little bit of heat on Bo Levi Mitchell.
Correction, it was a major foul, face mask. It's a 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
So they changed the call. It is a face mask call. It's Logan Harrell. Former Fresno State Bulldog, one of the newcomers to the line for the Argos. Still a 15-yard penalty, and the Stampeders keep this drive moving. Another direct snap, this time to Walter. Matt Walter plowing his way close to a first down. And it is a formation the Stampeders utilize a lot when number 9, John Cornish, is in the lineup.
Yeah, it just gives the running back that extra split second advantage on the defense in terms of reacting to who has the football. Usually their timing is see the ball go to the quarterback and then figure out where it's going from there. And usually by the time they're trying to figure that out, the running back's already a couple steps into it off that direct snap.
Second short yardage, again, nylon flies. Calgary Stampeders again started slowly in this game. The Argos look like they had some early momentum, but
offside. Toronto number 6, 5-yard penalty. First down.
Argo penalties are not helping Toronto's cause as well. Stamps have been taking it to Toronto from the end of that first quarter onward.
You see Gibson at the end of that line, leaning into that 1-yard neutral zone.
First and 10 inside the red zone. Play action. Mitchell to the end zone, looking for Fuller, and he's got his second touchdown. That was as easy as it gets. Bo Mitchell had a wide open Jeff Fuller. Second touchdown of the night on that hookup from Mitchell to Fuller.
And you're going to see 3 routes all at different levels out to the left side of the field. Fuller's got the deep one. In between goes Rob Cote, the fullback. And then Matt Walter snuck out there as well. It looked like the primary was actually Walter, who was the third guy to release. That wasn't open. Mitchell goes through the progression of reads and finds Jeff Fuller for his second of the game.
Well, for the second straight game, it's the Bo show. With help from Walter, Sanders, and Parker. And most of all right now, Jeff Fuller. 2 scores.
Pattern. Fuller's the first guy to go. Rob Cote is going to go to the flat. And then Matt Walter, number 3, he's going to sneak out behind Cote. And they're hoping he's going to get lost in the shuffle and be wide open. He's not. That's what forces Bo Levi Mitchell to look deep where Jeff Fuller had beaten his man.
Stampeders beating up the Argos right now, 24-9. Curtis Steele again on the return. Finds a seam. Look out now. Curtis Steele. And it was Rene Paredes who may have saved a touchdown. Kicker turns tackler.
Great explosive run here by Steele, and it looked like he was going to the house. Nobody really counts on the kicker to make a tackle, but Paredes does a nice job here. Staying squared up and getting enough of Steele to bring him down.
The Argos quickly huddle here. Trying for a quick counter punch on another Stampeder major. Nice moves on that far sideline from Spencer Watt. Argos get their first possession here in the second half. Big Stampeder drive, 8 plays, 87 yards that took up 4:04.
When you look at the numbers from the first half, Chad Owens limited by a bit of an ankle issue, 3 catches, 20 yards for him. Ricky Ray, the usual completion percentage, but the Argos just not getting that ball into the end zone. Forced to settle for 3s.
Well, this is quite a rivalry. Dwayne, I guess you've sensed it in the past. You used to play on both sides of this rivalry, as a matter of fact. But these two teams, they've met 85 times in the past. They're exactly even, 42, 42-1. Last year, split the season series, both teams winning in the opposite ballpark as visitors. And of course, go back to the 100th Grey Cup when the Argos beat the Stamps. Ricky Ray has to be quick here, and Anthony Coombs has the catch, and he dances down close to the 15-yard line. The young man's biggest play so far is a Toronto Argo.
Well, there you got a little glimpse of why everybody uses the word special when they talk about Anthony Coombs and his potential. So elusive in space, and this is a running back by trade in college, but posted a couple of 100+ yard receiving games for the Manitoba Bisons last season.
Out of Sturgeon Heights High School in Winnipeg. Ray dumps it off to Owens. Met quickly. Chad Owens, though, positive yardage when it looked like it might have been a loss. Let's go down to the sideline once again. Matthew Shanetti with an injury update.
Guys, despite Calgary's lead right now, they do have some more injuries. Deron Mayo and Keon Raymond are out for the night. Keon had some ice on his left leg before the end of the first half, and then just a few minutes later, Mayo had some ice on his right leg. They were questionable at that point, but when the Stampeders came out, they were both not there, and the Stampeders ruled them out for the game, guys.
Thank you, Matthew.
That depth will be further tested here in the second half.
2nd and 7. Here comes the rush again. There goes the football. Ray, end zone, and a great play in the end zone to just get a piece by Buddy Jackson. New cornerback for the Stampeders this year, and Buddy Jackson just gets a piece. Otherwise, this was 6.
Yeah, Ricky Ray finds Spencer Watt in behind Jackson, but that well-timed leap alters the trajectory of the ball.
And once again, and you got a sense earlier of the frustration for Scott Milanovich in this offense and Ricky Ray, because again, they get down to the red zone, but they have to settle for Swayze Waters. Waters is a great kicker, but you don't want your field goal kicker out there every time you have an opportunity to punch in a major. Field goal again for the Argos. Cuts into the lead, but still without a touchdown tonight. This one would have been one. Great play by Buddy Jackson. Big counts, make yours today. And a fantasy ride come true so far for Bo Levi Mitchell. Young CFL career. Perfect as a starter, and could make it 5 straight wins as a starter. He has had some instant chemistry with this guy this season, Jeff Fuller.
Yeah, Fuller again, a mid-season pickup for the Stampeders last year. Played a handful of games, including a 100+ yard effort. Biggest challenge for the Stampeders has been keeping all the receivers healthy at the right time, or at the same time rather.
2nd and 1. Drew Tate in that darkened visor of his comes into the ball game for the short yardage play. Marquay McDaniel and Antoine Molden having some words and a couple of jabs at each other. Here's Drew Tate. Both of these quarterbacks for the Calgary Stampeders from Texas. 2 very disparate personalities, would you say?
Yeah, definitely not necessarily cut from the exact same mold. Bo Levi Mitchell, slightly more reserved. Drew Tate, The guy whose emotions show through a little bit more out there.
Fire and ice. You know, when we talked with Bo early in the season, first game as a matter of fact, you know, talked about how it was a business and a competition and how these guys played behind Kevin Glenn at one time as well. And, you know, always probably dreamed about also being that guy. And Bo's dream comes true, but he said that Drew's been a great teammate and friend throughout all of this. And he realizes, too, that should he go down, Drew Tate comes in and all of a sudden he becomes the incumbent. That's the way it works. That's the way the ball bounces. On 3rd and inches, they did not get the first down. And Tate scraps his way over that 45-yard line for the first down. Drew Tate from Texas as well, A-Town, Texas. Played with the Iowa Hawkeyes. Bo Levi Mitchell played at Eastern Washington. Played his high school ball under the Friday Night Lights in Katy, Texas. By the way, Bo Mitchell grew up, and there's a penalty flag, some rough stuff after, grew up dreaming about becoming a baseball player and not a football player. His name Bo, as a matter of fact, he was named after Bo Jackson. And he said, coming into Rogers Center, he said, I love this. Big ballpark, big baseball stadium.
Major foul, unnecessary roughness, throw number 5, 15-yard penalty enforced from the end of the play. Automatic first down.
Penalties killing the Argos right now. 6:05 to go in the 3rd, and down a dozen.
There you see the number 5 of Jermaine Gabriel. I believe it, Marquay McDaniel, the Stamps receiver. He was into it with at the end of the play and dumps him over top of the pile to earn that flag.
Well, there's nothing wrong with a little attitude, a little swagger, but over the top will cost you 15. Mitchell again. And he lets it fly into traffic and almost picked off, and an interference call in triple coverage with Brad Sinopoli. Jalil Carter was in on the play.
Well, there were about 3 Argos there by the time the ball arrived.
There's the interference call, no doubt. Bear hug in the air by Brendan Smith.
And Dwight Anderson in behind Sinopoli. You see the right hand
it is too.
Has a hold of the jersey.
Can you be interfered with by three different players at once? That was a no doubt about it interference call. Moves the ball down to the 14-yard line. Bo Mitchell's already had a couple of touchdown passes. Goes over the top, and here is to Marquay McDaniel. And he's saying touchdown. The official is saying out at the 1. It looked like McDaniel got the cone, and they are saying it's a touchdown now. Another touchdown pass from Bo Mitchell, this time to Marquay McDaniel as he dives for the pylon.
Nice effort with the reach at the end. The best part of this play, and we'll get a look at it in a minute, is Bo Levi Mitchell demonstrating the use of the eyes in the back of his head to see the rush coming.
Stays on the field for the extra point, the long, tall Texan. Who has played like a guy above his years and not much experience, but he's looking like an all-star so far this season. McDaniel finds the house. The Stamps. Marquay McDaniel. The kiss to the end zone, his first score of 2014, had 8 majors a year ago.
And I talked a minute ago about Bo Levi Mitchell, the eyes in the back of his head. That blitz is coming from the corner, Matt Ware, but you don't see Bo Levi Mitchell panic because he has a sense that it's coming. You see the calm. The reason he's so relaxed is because he knows that's perfect. With Ware vacating that flat area, he knows he's got Marquay McDaniel running to that exact spot. and things are going to work out just fine.
Paredes with the kick, 31-12 now, Stampeders. Brandon Smith tripped up as he looked like he tripped over his own teammate here. And the Argos have dug themselves an enormous hole, mostly because of what Bo Mitchell has accomplished here tonight. 13 of 19, 234, 4 touchdowns. That's a career high. It's been a very short career, mind you, for Bo Mitchell, but 6 touchdown passes already for Mitchell this season, Dwayne. No interceptions.
Well, and we had that comparison between he and Ricky Ray earlier in the ball game. Clearly the career stats miles apart. You really don't want to compare anybody to Ricky Ray.
Ray drops one into the hands of Chad Owens. Owens into Calgary territory, and the Argos are going to need some big strike offense now. They're going to have to really score in bunches here to try to rally back.
A nicely run route there by Chad Owens. First a little stutter step and followed by the break to the inside. You see the Argos trying to isolate their top receiver, giving him the whole half field. He's the only receiver over there. Whole half field to get open.
Oh, great defensive play by Charleston Hughes. Knocks that down on the hit screen to Chad Owens.
Well, we talked about it earlier. You always, when you play the Calgary Stampeders, need to be aware of the whereabouts of Charleston Hughes.
Might have had a pick 6 there. And this one doesn't get off. Hughes was about 5 steps into the backfield.
Procedure. Toronto number 66. 5-yard penalty. Still second down.
But it goes against left tackle Sir Vincent Rogers.
Well, and Sir Vincent Rogers very aware of the quickness of the guy lined up in front of him.
This is a daunting challenge tonight for Rogers out of Jasper, Texas, and University of Houston.
Real good left tackle in his own right. It's a great matchup out there. But Hughes got up the field quickly on him on the previous play, and you saw the result a snap later.
2nd and 15. Ray hangs in the pocket. Adams has it, but nowhere near the first down. And again, that would have been 2nd and 10. Penalties piling up against the Toronto Argonauts. Not to mention the deficit, down 19.
Yeah, 10 penalties so far for Toronto for a total of 93 yards.
Well, the Argos have been in lopsided games so far on both ends. First game of the season against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Wrong end of a 45-21 score, then bouncing back the next week, 48-15, and a reversal of fortune again. Swayze Waters, long kick, and he gets it. 51-yarder for Swayze Waters. Has spent the last few seasons wearing other uniforms, but he will be remembered as one of the all-time great Toronto Argos. In fact, a CFL record for touchdown returns on interceptions. Byron Parker today signed a 1-day contract. He's retiring from football, and he wanted to retire in the double blue, and he has. Jim Barker alongside, and with him right now is Matthew Shinnidy.
Rod, you know, I'm standing beside Byron Parker. You talk about everything he achieved in his career, but why was it so important for you to retire as an Argonaut?
Just because this is where I started my career at. You know, in 2005, being a youngster from Stone Mountain, Lithonia, Georgia, it was important for me to just finish where I started. So that's why, you know, I came back and decided to retire as an Argonaut.
You know, we talk so much about how the Argos have a bit of an experience in their secondary. Did Barker try to convince you maybe to come back and help out, stay longer than a day?
I wish. You know, I definitely think I could still play. You know, I could have made a difference, but, you know, it wasn't meant to be. So, you know, I'm here. I'm happy to be here to support. But, you know, if I could always unretire. So if I got to go talk to Milt Stigler, Milt, you know my number. I got your number. I'll definitely be in Atlanta this week.
Everyone's going to remember the interceptions and the interception returns for touchdowns. Which one are you going to remember the most?
I think the one versus BC here, 2010, had just come off dislocated my shoulder. And I had told Barker, if I get the out route one more time, I'm jumping it. Doesn't matter what coverage I'm in. I'm jumping it, and I jumped it. I got it. We won the game.
Unforgettable stuff. Thanks, Byron.
Thank you.
One of the greats and one of the great guys in football history in the CFL, Byron Parker. We wish him the very best. Brad Sinopoli. You know you're getting old when Byron Parker is retiring. You watched him. Here's a guy, too, who came into the CFL out of U.S. College, Tulane. He was the NCAA slam dunk champion at his time. This guy's a tremendous athlete. And he was one of the very, very best at his position.
Yeah, no question about that. Terrific anticipation. The guy had a feel for the play, how to read routes, read quarterbacks. A class act to boot.
So the Argo defense comes up big here, and they're going to have to maybe even force a couple turnovers. They're down big. Owens jumps into the fray, spinning, tried to induce a no yards call, did not. 31-15 the score, 42-yard kick, 8-yard return for Chad Owens. Here is our Purolator sack tally, brought to you by Purolator, tackling hunger across Canada.
On the Toronto Argonauts and Calgary Stampeders. They got to get after it a little bit here today. Quarterback's relatively unscathed. Calgary with 4 sacks on the season, Toronto with 6. So neither team has any here this evening.
Sackless game so far, but a lot of pressure on Ricky Ray to throw that football. He's been able to avoid a sack. Calgary's front 7 has done a good job. Penalty flag, and there's trouble for Ray, who just tosses it to the sideline, to no one in particular, just to get rid of it. There's a veteran move. But there was a flag in the backfield. Miscommunication with Curtis Steele. And guess who ends up on top of Ricky Ray? Charleston Hughes. Pancakes him.
Well, as you said, a terrific veteran move by Ricky Ray. Just the calm with the ball bouncing around on the turf where most guys would be scrambling just to fall on it.
Calgary. Intentional grounding. Toronto number 15 will go back 5 yards. Will repeat first down.
So again, a veteran move. However, it did not get to the line of scrimmage for Ricky Ray. So hence the intentional grounding. So after all that, 1st and 15. Time is the enemy right now for the Argos. Still a whole quarter to play, but down 16 points. An offense, though, that is quite capable of putting up big yardage. Again, without Andre Dury tonight.
What's the hole?
And Jason Barnes. Ricky Ray, there he is in trouble, and he pitches it out. Talk about cool. Just to the initial line of scrimmage and maybe a little more as Ricky Ray shovels it out.
And Jeff Heck, the linebacker, thought he had a sack for sure. Again, Ricky Ray making something out of nothing.
As Coombs is the safety valve. And an injured Argo on the field. Anthony Coombs says he's loving life in the CFL, loves the big stadiums. Had a chance to chat with him earlier this week at practice, and he said the only thing, the biggest hiccup he's had so far is he wanted to go get that mohawk. He's always kind of had a mohawk haircut, but the barber kind of messed it up on him. He wasn't very happy about it. But boy, talk about a fresh face and little naivete. But boy, he's going to be a good one. And a lot of people in the Argos organization love the prospect and potential of Anthony Coombs, including that guy.
For his age, he's a very mature young man and understands the importance of his role and all the things that are on the line, and prepares himself well. And you know, he's going to make some mistakes, but get a ball in his hands in the open field, he'll do some good things too.
Where's number 1, the same number he wore with Brian Dolby's Manitoba Bisons. That program, by the way, in the last few years has really developed a lot of players. Go back to Israel Adonijah and so many of the players who have come up, the Vanier Cup champions. At one time, I remember about a couple of decades ago, Manitoba Bison program wasn't very good.
Yeah, well, it's been a pretty special last couple of weeks for Brian Dobie and the Manitoba Bisons with the success of their guys in the CFL. You've got Anthony Coombs making his first start tonight. Teague Sherman for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers made his first career start last night. Landon Rice for the Hamilton Tiger Cats made his first career start last week. A pretty good run for Mr. Dobie's boys.
Argos now scrimmage 2nd and 10 from their 32-yard line. Should be the final play of the third quarter. Here comes the house. Ricky Ray now has to take off, and he will not. And he's hit afterwards, but there's no penalty flag. Looked like it might have been just a little bit late, but Ricky Ray trying to get out of the pocket, and he's dropped. What a second half storm by the Calgary Stampeders. They put 31 up on the board right now. They lead 31-15 after 3.
Facing this challenge. Okay, now it's time to meet the challenge. Okay, and we will meet it and we will conquer it as a team. Okay, all 44, all 3 phases, playing the scheme with great effort and making plays. Okay, we're going to keep our poise, playing smart football, knowing it's a 60-minute game. And we'll be playing our best football late in the game to win the game. Win the game, man. Let's go. Let's go.
Inspirational stuff from John Huffnagel. Boy, they've listened to him so far, and now the final 15. The Calgary Stampeders a year ago, when they held the lead after 3 quarters, 13-1.
Yeah, very impressive. And you always talk about football games being 60 minutes and the importance of finishing ball games. And this is a team to whom that message has clearly gotten through.
Jock Sanders looking for some room. There he goes, cutting back and almost lost the football, but was able to hang on. James Yurichuk, and also realized that he was only a couple strides away from going a long way again. John Huffnagel, 7th season with the Calgary Stampeders, and the road wins since 2008. That mark is remarkable, Dwayne, when you consider that the next best team isn't even over 500 on the road.
Yeah, very impressive. And of course, you note that with the exception of last year's Grey Cup champions, the Saskatchewan Roughriders, that top 4 list included teams that have all won Grey Cups since 08.
33-21 on the road. Next best, 27-28. You saw BC's mark. Well, Huff's team has done it on the road. They've done it at home. A year ago, they were, in my eyes of many, the prohibitive favorites going into the playoffs. To that West final, and Saskatchewan knocks them off, and the Riders then rode that to the Grey Cup victory at home. A bitter taste in the Stampeders' mouths since that time. They talk, the past is past, and they only forget about it. But if you talk to Charleston Hughes and others who've been around, Nick Lewis, John Cornish and that, they're still a little upset about it.
Yeah, no doubt. A missed opportunity when you feel like you've got the best team in the league, whether you do or not. Because I don't think anyone can suggest that Saskatchewan wasn't a deserving Grey Cup champion last year. But when you feel that you've got the best team, you feel like you've missed an opportunity when you haven't finished the journey, so to speak.
Well, they were the best team in the regular season, without a doubt. 14-4. They put up enormous numbers, and maybe that last regular season game, they lost a couple of key components to their defense in a really meaningless game.
Yeah, well, one of them, Micah Johnson, just making his return here today from knee injury.
Rough Riders came in as Drew Tate looks to take off with a Rough Rider in a slide. Shea Emery said, I didn't do anything. The Riders came into that West final last year, jacked up and stole that title and took it back to Mosaic.
Here Here you see Shea Emery tracking down the play.
Speaking of Riders, don't forget the Rough Riders of BC Lions coming up after this one, the second half of our doubleheader tonight. And a real topsy-turvy start to the 2014 season. The two worst teams in the CFL last year are the two best so far. Pump and go. And Matt Walter induces a penalty interference call. Matt Ware. Perhaps tugged on his jersey, got a little bit too close, the former NFLer. And it's an interference penalty against Ware and the Argos.
Pass interference. Trouble number 17. Automatic first down.
Matt Ware, who got beaten earlier tonight, behind him on a touchdown by Jeff Fuller this time. There's the clutch. There's the interference.
Touch, but clearly the interpretation of the officials that it was enough to impede Matt Walter from getting to the football.
Look at the penalty yards, 124. There's Matt Walter. Spent a lot of time obviously training in the offseason with John Cornish and in the shadows of Cornish, learning a lot, but he's also taken a page out of the books of others. As you can see, Walter wore number 9. Obviously Cornish wears 9 with the Stampeders. Wore with the Dinos and was a great Dino.
To be the all-time leading rusher at that school says a lot. They've churned out a number of running backs going back to the days. Tim Petros, Tony Spallettini and the like, and more recently current CFLers Anthony Woodson, Stephen Limbala.
There's another great Dino, Anthony Parker, on a beautiful play, executed well by Mitchell. Little spin in the backfield and found Parker, who got some help from his friends. Once again, another penalty.
There is no infraction on the play. It was a screen pass. No infraction. First down.
A couple of those already tonight. Flags that were waved off. Talked about the Bison program, but almost unparalleled what's gone on with both Calgary and Laval, two of the programs that have sent the most players to the Canadian Football League. Mitchell, loads of time here, now chased down, and again you see that flag down by the 10-yard line. Want to sort this one out. Is it an interference call downfield?
Yeah, it's a pretty easy interference call.
Legal contact on receiver. Trouble number 41. Half the distance to the goal. Automatic first down.
Well, pretty soon, Scott Milanovich is going to go ballistic here with all the penalties, and they have been penalties.
Watch Anthony Parker. He's the outside receiver here. He's going to come on an underneath route. You're going to see Shea Emery's nasty edge there.
Anthony Parker took his helmet off there. Have to be careful with that. Walter up the gut. Down near the 5-yard line. And Walter came into this game just 7 carries for 32 yards. Again, only the 1 game played so far, but sharing the backfield with John Cornish. A lot of work in the offseason with Cornish. A lot of work receiving the football. Cornish was working with him. Both of them working on catching the football out of the backfield. They both become very adept at that dual threat. Jock Sanders in now in the backfield. 2nd and goal. Stampeders could really put this one out of reach. Mitchell. And an overthrow. A lot to clean up here, though, for the Argos this week. Film sessions. A lot of penalties, interference calls, lack lack of discipline. Thing is, here they're still in this ball game with 10-11 to go. Victory of sorts. They're going to force the Stampeders into a field goal. Here it is, 2 of 3 on the night. 34-15 is now the score. Good night for Matt Walter. Great night for the Stampeders again, looking to go to 2-0. As John Hufnagel said, they want to finish strong.
After the ball game in Toronto, we are going out to see the BC Lions visiting Saskatchewan. There's G. Simon, former Rider and Lion, talking to Mike Benavides.
Thank you, Chalk. G. Roy doing some work now with the Rough Riders. Chad Owens hauls this in, and the Argos have a lot of work to do. They're going to have to hurry up quick here. Time's a-wasting. Hard to believe. At one point in this game, the Argos early on had the lead. It was only 17-9 at the half. There's a former Argo head coach, Rich Stubler, now the DC in Calgary. Ricky Ray back to Owens. Needs some help here. Bashes away, first down. Story of the night, though, has been the Argos' inability to get past that red zone and punch it in. They've had to settle far too often for the foot of Swayze Waters.
Yeah, through the middle of the field, the Argo offense is running at its usual high efficiency, high completion percentage, chipping away and moving the football. Just an inability to finish.
Ray hangs in. There's Coombs out of bounds. Well, there's always an interesting chess match anytime you face off against someone like Rich Stubler, someone that Scott Milanovich really respects.
You want to go against the best, and Stubs is one of the best shoot over the last 20 years or so, and always has something new for you. It's always a challenge. You know they're going to be prepared for the things that you do well and try to take those away. So I love going against those guys.
Maybe not loving it quite that much right now. Rich Stubler. First year as the Calgary Stampeders defensive coordinator. But here in their second game of the season has this team playing at a high level.
Ray, pump fake. Off to Steele. Curtis Steele. Knocked out of bounds. And into that electronic signboard on the sideline. And once again, a penalty.
Holding Toronto number 61. 10-yard penalty. Still first down.
So this one comes back. Jarrell King again. Very dramatically different first two games for the Argos, and again, dramatically different into the third game. Up and down like a roller coaster here, the Argos in the early season. 143 yards and penalties now. 15 infractions against the Argos. Bullet holes in their cleats. Ricky Ray's hammered from behind, loose football, and the Stampeders have it. Fred Bennett scoops it up.
A very uncomfortable deja vu moment for Ricky Ray and the Toronto Argonauts as he gets crunched from behind by Charleston Hughes.
The same guy who injured that shoulder last season. Ricky Ray's okay, but
he was slow to get up.
Interference on a loose ball. Toronto number 81. That penalty's declined since Calgary recovered a football. First down.
And it gets worse for the Toronto Argonauts tonight. Ricky Ray gets clobbered here by Charleston Hughes. Loses the football, turns it over. That kind of night, not an Argo bounce. An eerie sense of deja vu here.
Yeah, Charleston Hughes, this was last year, last August. Charleston Hughes tracked Ricky Ray down from behind, taking the Argo quarterback to the turf, taking him out of the lineup for about half the season. And moments ago, similar kind of play, and you see Ricky Ray very slow to get up.
Number 39 is Ricky Ray's worst nightmare. Not to mention a few other quarterbacks, though, in the CFL. One thing about Charleston Hughes, he shows no favorites. He hunts them all down. Bo Mitchell. Complete pass again for Jeff Fuller, having an outstanding night. His first 2 CFL touchdowns caught earlier. And Bo Mitchell has absolutely picked apart the Argos secondary.
Yeah, distributing the ball very well, using a number of different receivers, and really unaffected by the fact that some of his go-to guys are out of the lineup. Playing into that next man up theory.
Another direct snap. Matt Walter goes bowling. Half the first down yardage. Quite a night for Bo Mitchell and the Stampeders. Let's go to the sideline once again. Here's Matthew.
Absolutely, Rod. You're talking about how great of a night it's been for Bo Levi Mitchell. I was speaking to Dave Dickinson yesterday, asking him if there's some kind of checklist he has for Bo's development. He said absolutely not. But the one thing I'm keying in on is whether or not he can be, quote, aggressive without being reckless. Now, given the situation as it is tonight, he hasn't really been pressured too much. But over the course of the year, Dickinson wants to go ahead and make sure that mentally when the going gets tough, Bo's mind really doesn't change. So when I asked Matt Walter about it yesterday in terms of what exactly it is that makes him so confident in Bo, he said, when I'm in the huddle with him, he demands respect, but he gives respect too. So no matter the situation, I know I can count on him. Guys?
Well, there's a great mentor on that sideline. And if you're new to the CFL game and you just see that coach on the sideline, Dave Dickinson. Dave Dickinson was one of the greatest in the history of this game as a quarterback, and he was cool, but also had a fire in him when he played.
Well, you're seeing a little bit of that fire over on the sideline right now. But one of the things I always loved about Dave's demeanor on the field was the fact that he played the game with emotion, but it was always under control. Just as you heard Matthew talk about, the ability to be aggressive without being reckless.
This one is blocked. Chad Owens will come forward. There's a no yards call. So it doesn't go through the uprights for Rene Paredes again here tonight. But they still have a big lead, and the Argos have a lot of work to do here. In the final 5:42. Rogers Center, open air tonight. Sun setting. So too the Argos' hopes in this one. Under 6 minutes to go. Jeremiah Johnson peels off a good gain here. Nice run into the Argos sideline. It's not enough offense for the Argos. They've piled up yardage here tonight, just have not been able to score the ball. They've had to settle for a number of field goal attempts. Hence the 15. They have not scored a touchdown.
But I have a little bit of a feeling that some of the missing parts are affecting this team, and that's one guy that they're missing right now, Jason Barnes.
Particularly on second downs. There's Chad Owens. Owens scurries up near the Calgary 50. There's a penalty flag in the backfield. Charleston Hughes picks himself up, and is this going against the Argos? Is this a hold?
Holding, Toronto number 66, 10-yard penalty, still first down.
They have a whole lot of cleaning up penalty-wise in this next week.
No question, Scott Milanovic will address that. But maybe a bigger concern is trying to get some healthy bodies back into this lineup.
Again, missing Andre Dury tonight, missing Jason Barnes. Defensively, Matt Black. He's going to be out for a while. Looks like he has a broken arm. Johnson. Nowhere to go. The Argos after this. The upcoming week will head to Ottawa for the home opener for the Red Blacks. And for the Stampeders, who had the bye week. Next week they are home to the Hamilton Tiger Cats, starting the season on the road. 3 straight games against Western opponents. Looks like the Stamps are going to be 2-0. Join the ranks of the unbeaten unless the Argos have a miracle comeback here. Adams has his 3rd catch of the evening.
And again, just getting back to the idea of Jason Barnes being out of the lineup. This is a guy who led this team with 2 touchdowns this season to start. He and John Childs combined for 15 touchdowns last season. As much as Andre Dury and Chad Owens were the guys catching most of the footballs, they weren't typically the guys catching the footballs in the end zone. They're sort of the catch and run guys. Childs and Barnes are the deep ball guys, and quite frankly, the green zone guys. With Barnes out of the lineup, it's a factor in them not finding the end zone.
Owens moves the chains.
John Childs also, again, with only 1 catch in this football game. He's their vertical stretch guy, and they've got to find a way to get him involved.
Well, a few years ago,
play guy last season.
Yeah, sorry, a few years ago was a big question mark for the Argos, especially in their receiving core. Before they won that Grey Cup, they had to get some receivers into town, like Bradwell, one of the longest tenured Argos. Slant pattern on first down. 3:20 and counting. And just like last year, it looks like the Calgary Stampeders will march into Toronto and march back home with a W. Another road victory. Johnson up the middle near the 45-yard line. And one of our officials picks himself up. Last night we had an umpire who got knocked down like that and had to leave the game. Looks like he's okay. 3-minute warning. Argos look like they're suffering their second loss. Stamps looking to go 2-0.
Track there's Darren Durant getting ready for game 2 of tonight's doubleheader, the CFL on TSN.
We'll send you there shortly. Thank you, Chaco.
Oh, man.
Final moments here. Argos trying to muster a major score. Ricky Ray along the sideline. Again at halftime, didn't look like we would get to this point where Calgary really ran away with it, particularly in that third quarter. Big plays tonight for the Stampeders, but penalties have done in the Argos. Sustaining drives for the Stampeders.
Again, the depth of the Calgary Stampeders a key. Both these teams battling some injury issues on both sides of the football. The Stampeders have survived those losses a little bit better.
Ricky Ray's barely survived this night. Juwan Simpson with the sack. 2 sacks tonight for the Stampeders. It's been that kind of night. Ricky Ray left fending for himself again.
And the Stampeders picking up that heat a little bit as the Argos down by 19 late in this ball game in obvious passing situations.
3rd down and 17, or they turn it over again. Ray lets it fly. Sideline, and no call. We may see a challenge here. I mean, why not right now at this point?
Yeah, flag's already down.
Nothing has gone right for the Argos in the second half, but let's take a look at this one.
Childs is the outside receiver. Buddy Jackson in coverage.
Toronto is challenging the ruling of the field of an incomplete pass. The play will be reviewed.
There's Buddy Jackson.
And here's the question that will be asked. I mean, he impeded the receiver, no question. The question is, as we saw last night on a non-pass interference call against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, did that collision or did that contact by the defender really have a bearing on the receiver not catching the football?
Yeah, would he have been able to catch this? You know, if you look at it, there might have been a chance for Childs to lay out there. Again, the ball was overthrown, but saw it last night in that S.J. Green play.
If you watch the movement of Childs' head, though, he looks like he's lost sight of the football.
Again, penalty interference for the first time ever in professional football. Pass interference can be challenged on a video replay. It's met with a little controversy so far, but had some successful challenges and challenges that have been overturned. I'll talk with command. Andre Proulx will put it on. 2:19 to go, and it may seem inconsequential here. Again, anything can happen in the CFL. We've seen games all of a sudden be pulled out here where no lead is safe, but safe to presume that the Stampeders will hang on here for victory. But for the Argos, it's just to muster some kind of momentum or confidence, because they clearly have not been able to move into the scoring zone.
Confirmed. The defender at inside position on the play. Ball is turned over on downs. First down, Calgary.
There we go. Do you feel like with every one of these interference calls that get challenged, though, that a precedent of some sort is set because we're into such uncharted territory?
Yeah, I think that's a pretty fair assessment, but it's in the early part of this season really establishing the standard.
Yeah. Well, so John Hufnagel, it's on the other end, the good side of an unsuccessful challenge from Scott Milanovich. Stampeders could salt this one away with 2 to go. Bo Mitchell's going to go to 5-0 as a starter.
Another pretty good day for Bo Levi Mitchell. 15 of 23, 255 yards, 4 touchdown passes, no interceptions.
No interceptions in 2 games. Second down and 8. Drew Tate gets some playing time here. Well, play it very conservatively. And they'll boot it away. I don't know about Jock Sanders' night. Yeah, he botched one kick, but he'll remember the one kick he almost returned from the end of the end zone, led to a touchdown, and of course he was a running back turned passer as well, lateraling it back to Bo Mitchell. That really sparked this offensive showcase for the Stampeders tonight. Owens. Yeah, it was the night of the big play for the Calgary Stampeders.
Yeah, they picked their spots. Picked them very successfully. There's the flea flicker. Sanders back to Mitchell. To Anthony Parker for the home run. Part of Parker's first career 100-yard receiving game in the CFL. The missed field goal return. Over 120 yards. Setting up a touchdown pass. Mitchell to Jeff Fuller. The big plays gave them the momentum, and they carried it through the rest of the game.
Owens again. Can the Argos find the end zone? Again, they'll be part of ceremonies at the Ottawa Red Blacks' first home opener coming up in week 4 CFL. Trevor Harris is in now. Jeremiah Johnson. So with a minute to go, we are going to put the L in the column for the Argos, and the East struggling out of the gate here. 2014, 2-0-2s, 2-1-2s. How about the West? Calgary Stampeders are going to join Edmonton and Winnipeg, and there's another fumble. 46 seconds to go. They're saying it's Calgary football, or are they?
Jeremiah Johnson was the man who ended up with the ball.
And they're just going to play this out. Looked good early on tonight for the Toronto Argonauts. First drive, field goal. Had an early 6-3 lead. Then they were stifled, muzzled offensively. And the West is best right now after 3 weeks. Again, Calgary has the bye already, but they are undefeated with Winnipeg and Edmonton.
And the BC Lions, whom some had picked as the preseason Grey Cup favorites, have a little catching up to do.
Lions look for their first win right after this one. We'll send you out west. Lions and the Saskatchewan Roughriders. How about the start for Edmonton and Winnipeg? We saw the Blue Bombers pull one out in Montreal last night, but two teams, one 3-15, one 4-14, 7-29, or 6-0 to start the season. Unbelievable, amazing turnaround, but it's early. Remember back a few years ago, the BC Lions started 0-5 and went on to win the Grey Cup.
Yeah, it's a long season, but they've certainly, both those teams, given reason for their fans to have faith.
Well, a big play night for the Calgary Stampeders, and their defense does a job on the Toronto Argonauts, keeping them out of the end zone. No John Cornish, no Nick Lewis, no Bo Price, no worries. They had Bo Mitchell tonight, John Hufnagel, and the Stampeders are 2-0. 34-15 is the final in Toronto tonight as we send it back to CFL control.
Thank you very much, Rod. Here with the boys in studio, Schultz, Matt, and Milt. That was quite a victory by the Calgary Stampeders, and they are looking like a good football team. Yes. And in fact, at halftime, I asked these guys whether the Stampeders were the best team in the CFL, and Matt laughed at me. Matt said, "Are you kidding me? We are a game and a half into the season for the Stampeders. Don't even talk to me about that." All right, Matt.
Okay.
Can we talk about it? Can we talk about it now?
I still feel the same way, Jack. You're 2 weeks into the season. But I can tell you what I saw from the Calgary Stampeders is how much a bye week leading up to this football game helped that team, because they were very well prepared. You saw the trickery. You saw the missed field goal return. All those things this early in the season typically don't get looked after until later on in the season. This team was dialed in, making things happen. And to me, that was huge, because the talk going in here was simply who's going to be better with the missing parts, Ricky Ray or Bo Levi Mitchell. Well, they had 2 weeks knowing that these players were not going to be in the lineup, and they freaking dealt with it, right? And then you look at Ricky Ray, he had very limited time to deal with the guys that were out of the lineup in Dury and certainly Barnes.
Right now, like you said, it's only 2 weeks in, but right now they are the best team in the CFL. When you lose your star player like Cornish, no Price, no Lewis, and those other players just step in, just let you know that they have a pretty good system in place, and it doesn't matter what people you put in that system, they're going to be successful. So they have the best team right now after 2 weeks.
Well, right now they've got a very hot quarterback, and he is standing by to chat with us. Bo has been gracious enough to join us on the sideline. Bo, welcome to the show. Doc Climby here. I wanted to first congratulate you on an excellent performance, and then just ask you this. You are now 5-0 as a starter in the CFL, and I just wonder if you can tell the folks how you attribute your early success in your career.
It's those guys around me, man. The other 21 guys, out there playing, including special teams. The main thing we focus on is all three phases of the football. So it's not just me and that offense. It's me, the offense, the defense, and the special teams. Making sure we don't have too many penalties, too many turnovers. So a lot of bad things that did happen tonight, we got to clean up. But, we're going to keep on trucking.
Bo, congratulations. My question is, you've been successful. You look real comfortable when you're out there. How much of the success is owed to the fact that you have a great coordinator in Dave Dickinson?
All of it, man. That guy pushes me. You know, I thought I pushed myself enough, but he pushes me that much more. You know, and knowing the career he had, you know, even with Huff also having that, it's a lot different having 5 sets of eyes out there that all played quarterback, including those 2 guys who did it so well for so long. But having Dave out there, man, it's just a huge relief and a huge burden off my shoulders, because he always calls a great game, and he always puts it on himself to make sure that, you know, we are getting put in the right position, that we are, you know, attacking the right sides of the field, and we're always in the right position to win the game.
Bo Matty here. I'm telling you, a lot of talk going to this football game with Mo Price being on the lineup, Nick Lewis and John Cornish. How important was having the bye week going into this week's preparation for you guys to overcome those losses?
Honestly, it was a little different. You know, having a bye week so early in the season after a momentum win against a good defense in Montreal. You know, but obviously it did help because we had some guys nicked up. You know, we had some guys that, you know, just needed the week off to, you know, really get the body ready, get the legs ready. And it showed tonight. You know, it obviously helped. So we know we have a long road, a long stretch until our next one. So, you know, we got to get healthy. We got to get stronger, keep getting the body stronger, you know, and making sure we're attacking every single game.
Hey, Bo, Chris Schultz here. Matt Walter had a really strong performance, and also did Anthony Parker. Talk a little bit about those 2 players and what you anticipated from them going into this game.
Oh man, those are 2 of the hardest workers on the team. You know, first starting with Parker, man, he is one of those guys that obviously being a Canadian player, you know, when Americans or anybody does go down and or a Canadian goes down off his line and whatnot, we got to throw him around in a lot of different positions. So Anthony Parker does a great job studying, getting ready for his game plan, and getting his body ready. You know, he's one of those guys that can take a lot of hits, you know, get the ball thrown to him a lot of times, and you know, still run down the field. So a lot of the success tonight happened because of the way he played, but including Matt. Man, Matt's just one of those guys, when you hand him the ball, he's 100 miles an hour. You know, he's not gonna shy away from a hit. You know, he's gonna keep hitting the holes and hitting the pockets and whatnot. So you know, it's pretty big having those 2 guys out there on the field.
Bo, thanks very much for joining us. We'll just go back to the dressing room where you can celebrate with your teammates. And once again, congratulations on a great performance.
All right, thanks guys. Have a good night.
Wow, 4 touchdown passes tonight, a career high, and this is the company he is now keeping in terms of the most wins to start a career. Jeff Garcia, we all remember him. Great CFLer, went down to the NFL. We have Van Pelt and Darren Duran, of course. That's some pretty exclusive company right there, and I can't say enough about him. I mean, it's only, what, 3 short weeks ago where he was in a duel. He was in a dogfight, and everyone was talking. It was a Tate, a Mitchell, and we weren't sure who was going to start. No one's talking about that now. Yeah, nobody. Yeah. Tate's a short yardage guy, and that's it. I mean, so let's just switch gears for a second. Let's talk about the Toronto Argos, because obviously this is a team that, well, I can't figure out. I mean, they start the season getting blown out, then they blow Saskatchewan out, and now they're getting blown out at home. What's with this football team, Schultze?
Well, you know, it's tough to diagnose whenever a team loses because you go and you watch the video. But I will say this: at the start of the 3rd quarter, Calgary Stampeders put together an 8-play drive. They scored a touchdown. All of a sudden, it was 24-9. The next time that Calgary had the possession, 6 plays, 75 yards, took 3 minutes, and then it's 31-9. Now, the score was 17-9 going into halftime, so it was a competitive football game. And to lose it in that way in the 3rd quarter, you don't know where Toronto is, because we've seen them at their best, but twice now we've seen them at their worst.
Yeah, Schultz, I think Toronto took advantage of Saskatchewan's lack of preparation. I think Saskatchewan came into Toronto last week a little fat and happy, and they got it handed to them. And I really do believe that what you saw tonight was what 2 weeks does for a football team that's well coached and comes in rested against a team that had a big victory, a blowout victory, and Toronto might have been believing in or drinking some of their own Kool-Aid on this one. And I think that you know, that happens in sport, and you know, and you got to find that consistency as players and as coaches on your football team.
And I know Toronto is thinking right now the best thing that can happen for us is we're going to play a weak Ottawa team. But what they need to realize is, yeah, this is a weak Ottawa team, but this is the Ottawa team who's playing their first home game in their new stadium. So you know they're going to be motivated. So if these Argonauts want to get a victory next week, they're going to have to play a lot better than what they played today.
Penalties crushed them too, Bill, didn't it?
Yes,
really?
again.
Seriously?
Well, last year the Calgary Stampeders were